Look to God and be filled with radiant joy. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer. Look to God and be filled with radiant joy. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer. Look to God and be filled with radiant joy. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer. Look to God and be filled with radiant joy. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer. Look to God and be filled with radiant joy. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer. Look to God and be filled with radiant joy. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer. Lift up your heads, for God hears our prayer.
Peace and good. A couple of years ago, I and some Viterbo faculty and staff had the opportunity to visit Viterbo, Italy. Not Viterbo or Viterbo, but Viterbo, Italy. We saw the history, we met fascinating people, and all around the city, a very large city, I would say probably the size of Madison, Wisconsin, there was images and sayings of their favorite patroness. Her name was Rose from Viterbo. As we walked the streets of Viterbo and saw the life and the pulse of the city, we learned a little bit about its history. And in the 13th century, when Rose was born, there was a lot of political upheaval. They had a very, very mean emperor who was not very friendly with the current pope at that time. And he was causing a lot of division among families. Obviously, it must have affected Rose. And as time went on, this person was, after he died, Viterbo regained its sense of peace and calm. And then the popes would live. I think about 5 popes actually lived there. It's about, I would say, 60 miles, probably north of Rome, in the same region of Italy called Lazio. And again, having gone to Assisi, I thought Viterbo had the charm of Assisi, maybe not so many visitors. But I think it's important for you, as students here at Viterbo, to find out who this person is. September 4th for us is a celebration of her life, especially in Viterbo, Italy. However, it's interesting because she died before she was 20 years old, 17, 18, 19, I'm not quite sure. But her influence on the city of Rome was very, very stupendous, so much so that when I went to the Vatican and you visit the tombs of the popes, there was one pope, his name was Celestine III. I went down into the crypt and they say one of the greatest features of this Pope was that he canonized Rose of Viterbo. I went, hey, that's our university. But who was she? What was she all about? We have pictures of her all over the campus, and it's called Saint Rose Comet Across, but at times like these, I wish Rose would appear and just give us an understanding so we at Viterbo, we know and imitate her life. Rose.
Well, of course, Father.
What?
I would love to tell the students of my beloved university all about my life.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm beside myself. Welcome, Rose. Welcome to Viterbo.
Thank you. Well, students, I would like to tell you a little bit about my earthly life. I was born without a breastbone, but ever since I was small, I had the Spirit of the Lord in my heart. In fact, as soon as I learned how to talk, I was asking my parents to take me to church constantly. And by the age of 3, I had raised my maternal aunt from the dead. Now, when my parents would take me to church, I walked through the streets and I saw that there were so many people who were so poor out on the streets. And my family was considered poor, but I could see that there were so many people who had it even worse than us. So I would take bread from our own house and I would hide it in my apron and sneak outside and go give the bread to the poor. But my father was not especially happy about this because he wanted us to have all of our food for ourselves. So one time when I took bread and smuggled it into my apron, he tried to catch me as I was walking out the door. And he opened up my apron, but what fell out was not bread, it was roses. Now, also on the streets at this time, the Franciscan friars were out preaching, and I wanted to be just like them. Even though I was only a young girl, I wanted to be just like them. And when I was 10 years old, Mother Mary came to me in a vision and told me that I should go out and preach on the streets, just like the friars. So I did. And now in this time there was political unrest. And I preached in favor of the Pope and against the Emperor, who is currently in control of the city of Viterbo. So I got my family and myself exiled from the city by that emperor because he was unhappy about the things that I was saying about him. But I didn't see this as a punishment. I saw it as an opportunity to go and spread the word of the Lord to more and more people. So I went to new cities, and I even converted a whole city once by preaching amidst the flames of a burning pyre while remaining unharmed. Also at this time, I correctly foretold the death of that emperor who had exiled me. And when he did die, the Pope was returned to power, and he allowed my family and I to go back into the city. At this time, I really wanted to join the Poor Clare Monastery because I really looked up to St. Clare and I really wanted to join in their mission. However, my family was so poor that we could not even afford the dowry that would allow me to join into their monastery. So unfortunately, I never had that opportunity to join them because I died at a very young age of 19, as Father Conrad said. But they did allow me into their ranks after I died.
Saint Rose, the city of Viterbo just rocks with your memory. There are pictures of you and there are songs of you and all over the place. I especially like the gelato out there. It's probably something you don't even know about. But the stories of the saints and their lives serves to give us an example that you are human like us and that there's hope. Right now, here, this is the 21st century, and I'm sure you know you're seeing all this in heaven, but we're going through a pandemic, and this pandemic is scary. There's violence in our streets. We could use another Rose of Viterbo to give us comfort, but it struck me that you must have known or heard about the poor ladies of San Damiano and Clare. You were living when Clare of Assisi was living. I mean, Clare, We call her the mother of the Franciscan order, and I think you were born probably after Francis had died. And she had written a blessing to her friend, Sister Agnes, who was also going through a lot of turmoil. We would love if you would remember those words. Could you pray it or sing it for us in the music of the troubadours that Francis and Clare love so much? Would you sing it for us?
Of course.
Please.
What you hold, may you always hold. What you do, may you always do, and never abandon, never abandon. But with swift pace, light step, unswerving feet, so that even your steps stir up no dust. Go forward securely, joyfully and swiftly on the path of prudent happiness. What you hold, may you always hold. What you do, may you always do, and never abandon, never abandon. Believing nothing, agreeing with nothing that would keep you from this resolution, or that would place a stumbling block for you on the way. What you hold, may you always hold. What you do, may you always do, and never abandon, never abandon.
What you hold, may you always hold. What you do, may you always do, and never abandon. Thank you, Rose. Pray for us, and hopefully here in Viterbo we can emulate your servant leadership, especially during these trying times. Pray for us.
I will, Father. I will be praying for the students of my beloved university from heaven.
Well, as they say in Italy, andrà tutta bene, everything will be well. Peace and good, and thank you. I guess Rose has returned to heaven. A young girl like that with a personality that rocked Italy into today, it still reverberates. What we want to do is encourage you to learn more about Rose of Viterbo and the sisters who have come here using her as their patroness for the university. But her spirit lives on, and she watches us. In Viterbo, Italy, the city is rejoicing with her memory. Every year on September the 3rd, this has been going on for hundreds of years, they've constructed a huge gold tower called La Macchina. It means car or vehicle. It's 30 meters high. It weighs 5 tons. And it's embossed with gold and candles and flowers. And way on the top is a picture of their favorite daughter, Rose of Viterbo. These men, they're called facchini. They're specially chosen from the age of 20 to 60, and they have to carry a 160-pound stone 70 meters without stopping to qualify to carry this huge machina on their shoulders. And they go a couple of kilometers uphill to the piazza where Rose's church is, and they leave it there for a few days, after which it's disassembled and it's put away for the following year. But the machina is a tradition that perhaps we'd like to share with you at the end of this service, that also we may see that Viterbo University is an opportunity for celebration of servant leadership. May the Lord give you peace. May the Feast of Rose of Viterbo inspire us all. Good day, and peace and good.